they happen. You've been a part of it. Yeah. You've experienced it. Sure. It's a completely different story, though, when you can't find your shot in the playoffs. What has to change? What are you seeing from Steph?
Couple of things. So I think one thing that's not good, and this has happened with Steph Curry before, the narrative starts to become about Steph. That's the worst thing for a shooter. But the attention is obviously going to go there. He's a two-time MVP, and he's the greatest shooter that any of us have ever seen. So this is strange. But when you start to make it, the Warriors, too much about trying to get Steph going, you end up getting away from what makes you so hard to guard, which is the lack of predictability about where the ball is going. So for Steph, obviously he wants to be aggressive. He'd love to see a couple go through tonight in the first quarter, but I don't think he needs to press and force that to happen. What Houston has been doing a good job of, Kevin, their switches have been on point. Mm-hmm. They've done a great job at not giving him what I call chaos plays, which is offensive rebound, and there's a bad out, and now the defense is scrambling to find guys. Nobody punishes you more in those situations than the Golden State Warriors. He hasn't had any of those, which means on those chaos plays, somebody is sprinting to his chest. They're taking that away because those are backbreaker type plays, and he's not getting those early threes in transition. They're running and fanning out to him well. So look, give Houston credit, but we also know Steph missed a lot of finishes in the last game. He normally makes, that's a big part of his game. He's going to be aggressive, but look, this is a great team. This isn't Steph Curry. Better he plays, better chance they have, but I don't think you just go there at the beginning of the game, try to get Steph going. I think it's a mistake. That plays into Houston's hands.
All right, now fatigue has been one little storyline with the Warriors, and we know about their lack of depth, but DeMarcus Cousins has been out since April 15th with a quad injury, and maybe some good news. He told The Undefeated today, quote, "For me, my goal is I am planning on sitting. I don't know the reality of it, but for me, that's not what I'm planning on doing. It's definitely some type of bad movie, but I think it will have a very nice ending. Just wait for it." What impact do you see? You're shaking your head. Boogie Cousins comes back.
I'm shaking my head, not at the fact that he's going to come back. I'm shaking my head actually out of empathy for him and what he just said and trying to stay positive of what this guy has been through.
Yeah.
You think about the free agency money, and this could be potentially 2 summers in a row.
The Achilles first last year, yes.
That. Right. So the timing of it. So the fact that he's trying to stay that positive is great. But look, when he went down and knowing the nature of the injury, it sounded impossible. Like there's no way that this guy can get back on the court this year. And I think all they're trying to do is say, look, it's going to be right about that time. If you get into the second half of the NBA Finals, games 4, 5, 6, 7, that's right around the time frame. Is it completely nuts? I don't think so, but I think it's unrealistic to expect it. I just like the fact that he's trying to stay positive, trying to get back. And I love what he said. Hopefully this nightmare is going to have a happy ending because I think that guy deserves it, man. I know the finite number of years you get to do this as an athlete and particularly make that kind of money, to have this happen to him twice, a serious injury to shut his season down. I really feel for the guy, and I hope he does make it back.
Keep this in mind. For a grade 2 tear, it usually takes 6 weeks to get healthy. That lines up at the NBA Finals. First, they have to advance past the Rockets. Legs, thank you so much.
All right, coming up, it's been a roller coaster series for Joel Embiid so far. I think we all agree. Michael Wilbon on how concerned the Sixers should be about their star big man coming up for Game 4 tomorrow night. And after the Panthers selected a quarterback in this year's draft, Cam Newton says he's excited about it. He's also returning from shoulder surgery. Louis Riddick explains what the future holds for number 1.
We got to come out and bust them.
Together on 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's go, man. These 2 prolific scores putting on a show here in the third. Durant again. We're going to overtime. Harden, step back 3. Bang! And the Rockets will get the overtime win.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just realized what I said. I'll be on Fridays.
You just wanted to say a bad word on TV, didn't you? You just blanked the wrong one.
Yeah,
okay.
I did.
ESPN.com. Brian Windhorst examines whether fatigue will catch up to the Warriors this postseason, considering their lack of depth. Yesterday, Steve Kerr asked about this topic.
It doesn't matter. It's, you have to play. You got to do what you have to do to win the game. And if you can't do it, you can't do it. But our guys are in great shape, and we got a day's rest.
Brian Windhorst joins us live from Houston ahead of Game 4, Warriors-Rockets. You owe me, because now I can't keep a straight face on TV. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm trying to be professional. Steve Kerr does not sound concerned about the fatigue issue with Hampton's 5. How concerned should he be?
Well, he's trying to be professional too, Sage, but he's definitely got to be worried about this. 3 of his players are averaging over 40 minutes. Look, I know that there was an overtime game in Game 3, and that boosted the minutes a little bit, but Kevin Durant has only been on the bench a total of 12 minutes in this series. Not 12 minutes a game, Sage, 12 minutes total. Andre Iguodala is averaging 35 minutes in the series. He played 40 minutes in Game 3. Sage, he hadn't played 40 minutes a game in 3 years. Because of the DeMarcus Cousins injury and just general inexperience on their bench, they're thin. This is all in. This is a high-stakes series. Obviously, this is a major opponent, but I wonder if the Rockets can win tonight and extend this series, if long-term the Warriors don't get worn down playing all these minutes.
It's a great article you wrote on ESPN.com, and I think your point about bringing in Boogie Cousins and that not working out, that truly is a dagger for this team. As for Harden, 41 points in Game 3, his best performance of the playoffs so far. How about that supporting cast, Brian?
Yeah, Eric Gordon is having the series of his life right now. He's averaging 24 points. He's shooting over 50% from the field, which is vital to them because they need somebody to be a release valve for James Harden. And he's doing it on the defensive end. He's been terrific against Klay Thompson on defense. Klay's only shooting 1 of 8 on him. Now, the thing about the Rockets, though, is the other side of it is Chris Paul. Now, he has done okay on offense, but Sage, he's not getting shots up. Only took 8 shots in all of Game 3, including overtime. And in a moment that I think was really revealing, totally with 2 minutes left in the game in a skin-tight game, passes up a wide-open three-pointer in transition. He just hasn't been looking for a shot, only averaging 10 shots a game. Look tonight for Chris Paul to look for some volume, again, to take pressure off of James Harden.
Yeah, that was a strange sequence for sure. Okay, before you go, I want to get your thoughts on the potential LeBron James Ty Lue reunion. Once Monty Williams decided to go to Phoenix, this seems like it's going to happen with the Lakers, Brian. Good idea for them to be reunited again?
Well, here, let me say this. I don't understand what the Lakers' maneuvers are here. If Ty Lue was their choice, I don't understand why they hadn't hired him already. This is some sort of shell game to show that they're not trying to hire LeBron's favorite coach. I'm not sure what the point of that is. So I'm going to wait and see how this process plays out. But I will say this. Ty Lue isn't LeBron's, best buddy. Ty Lue holds LeBron accountable. He's a good coach for him. But I think I have to point out that the team and the organization and the way the roster was built in Cleveland and the way the roster is built in L.A. is not the same at all. He could not coach LeBron the same way. So he would have to have a completely new strategy or they'd have to totally revamp this roster.
Yeah, very difficult job to rebuild that Lakers team. Brian Windhorst, again, his article right now on ESPN.com, fascinating about the Warriors and the potential of fatigue. Thanks, Brian. Enjoy the game.
All right. Coming up, a forward focus on fantasy football. Which running back's fantasy value is plummeting ahead of next season?